Hi, my name is Tina, and I'm happy to share this presentation on humor and health with all of you. We all want to know what humor is and how we can use it, and I found that this video incorporates everything that I was looking for in my presentation. I'd like to share that with you now.
Well, you have probably heard the saying that laughter is the best medicine. It certainly is medicine for some ailments. So joining us to talk about laughter is licensed professional counselor Dr. Bill Baker. So there's the saying, an old song says that everybody needs a laughing place. Why is laughter so important for people?
You know, this is a very important subject. Now, since I'm not a professional comedian, I'm a therapist, you might say this is a somewhat serious discussion about a very funny subject. Now, here's the bottom line. Positive humor promotes good health. Research has been saying that for the past 30 or 40 years. In terms of physical health, positive humor or laughter has a way of suppressing the body's negative or harmful stress hormones while it improves overall immune system. It's also a great cardiac workout for the heart and for the lungs.
Sure. And
it helps with pain management. Now, in terms of emotional health, laughter produces endorphins, those brain peptides that have
Same
a
as
way...
when you exercise.
Right, yeah, it just kind of elevates the mood, so it's helpful in managing things like depression. With relationships, positive humor helps to connect people, helps with communication, conflict resolution, and it just makes the whole life together a lot more enjoyable.
Let me ask you this, because people who obviously are in a state of depression may not feel very much like laughing, even if that is the solution. So how can people incorporate more of that into their lives on a day where they're down or they're feeling kind of drab?
Great question, too. Harnessing humor is not the easiest thing in the world to do. There are several things we could do. The first thing I may need to do is to, as I think of it, access my inner control panel and activate my permission program. That is to give myself permission to lighten up, loosen up.
Let go.
Well, to be a little bit silly, like taking out a clown nose, for example, and putting it on your nose, you know, and looking kind of silly, kind of like that.
What have you lost by that? You've lost nothing. You know, you just
That's
enjoy
true.
the moment.
In fact, I brought you several.
Well, thank you.
One for you and one for the other staff members here. I almost dare you to wear it on the air today, perhaps. So to give ourselves permission, adjusting our perception, that is, looking for things that are humorous. This morning in the wastebasket, I found this, so I held it up. It says expiration alert. And I said, I'm just giving you a heads up. I could expire today.
It's just about it sounds like what you're saying is that, hey, be okay with laughing at yourself. You know, it's not that serious.
Exactly. Be able to be a little bit silly, give ourselves permission to laugh at ourselves, and to do things like acquiring good practices, meaning, well, like learning to laugh. That's kind of a skill. It's an art. And loading our laughter library, as I think of it. Acquiring books and periodicals, CDs, DVDs that promote humor, so when we get down or need a good laughing place, we have it at home.
You're thinking about the positive in your life rather than dwelling on the negative.
Exactly.
We thank you so much, Dr. Baker. Some great tips for incorporating laughter into our lives.
I'm glad to be back.
Try to use.
Okay, there are a lot of uses for humor in our lives. We use humor as a coping mechanism. By this, I mean we have an increased ability to cope with stress. We can cope with depression, and it allows us to cope with alarming situations in a better and healthier way. It also is great exercise. It's a great breathing exercise, and we take in an increased amount of oxygen and put out more carbon dioxide. Your organs are exercised when you laugh. In work situations, it helps with healthy humor can enhance group cohesiveness. It helps to create positive feelings. It can create an atmosphere of open communication. In your marriage, couples with greater sense of humors tend to have happier marriages, and they tend to form closer relationships and are perceived to have happier lives. The physical effects of humor on our health. One of the researchers, Bennett, said, according to PNI theory, it has been postulated that laughter or a sense of humor may affect health through moderation of stress chemicals and or our immunoenhancement. We found that laughter lowers your blood pressure, increasing your diameter in your veins. It also produces endorphins and dopamine, which reduce pain. And we saw that 10 minutes of a hearty laugh is equal to 2 hours of pain-free sleep. It lowers your levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. It decreases the stress. It increases your endorphins. It increases your immunity and your B cells, which later turn into plasma cells and produce antibodies. It has a significant increase in your immunoglobulin A levels. They found that natural killer cells, which are lymphocytes, are capable of killing some cancerous cells and are also help in prevention of some illnesses. The emotional effects of humor, they allow us to have an elevated mood. Studies show that increased mood for up to 23 hours after a good hearty laugh. A sense of humor reduces your depression, anxiety, and tension, and all the symptoms associated with these were much decreased with laughter, although it was a temporary sense of decrease. It gives people a sense of hope, optimism, and energy. This optimism reminds us that not everything has to be taken so seriously. And the energy and vigor, this may be due to the increase in oxygen intake while laughing. I found some common phrases that talk about laughing. The ease of use of humor. It's easy to have a sense of humor. Laughter is free. The only thing you have to do is use it. And you have to make the choice to do so. It is a common language. No matter what language you speak, everyone understands what laughter is. Healthy humor. Gelotology is the actual physiological study of laughter. It helps in our locus of control to change it to an internal and stop blaming or thinking others control our lives or are in control of us. I found some great quotes within the videos I looked at. While laughter doesn't cure, it does allow us to forget. I thought that was great. It also found that laughter is also a great meditation because when you laugh, you're not thinking. There's also the downside to that. There's unhealthy humor. There are put-downs, such as things that have a detrimental effect on your self-esteem. Aggressive teasing. It leaves a person feeling alone and may lead to suicide if the teasing is not stopped or if it is taken too far for too long. There are self-disparaging jokes, which are people making fun of themselves before others have the chance to use what they are insecure about against them. An example would be a bald man telling jokes about being handed shampoo samples in the grocery store. It also talks about racism. There are jokes about Hispanics and blacks, and Jews, women, the handicapped. The list can go on and on. These jokes may actually encourage more discrimination against these groups. Humor can sometimes have a negative and harmful outcome against others, and we should all be more willing to tell the jokester, "We didn't find that joke funny or appropriate." It's not all about cheerful news. The physical effects have, in the study for Nooper and Knowles, in the paper I found called Thoughts of Feeling Better, a Sense of Humor in Physical Health, they found a lot of contradictions to the popular notion that people having a greater sense of humor have better physical health. The subjects only had a temporary benefit from the effects of humor, and they had a perception of better physical health, but their actual physical health did not change. One of the studies they cited was the White and Cameron study. It was done in 1989, where subjects were exposed for an hour and a half to laughter manipulation for 6 weeks and did not come out of the study with any increase in heart rates or didn't come out of the study with any decreases in their heart rates or decreases in their blood pressure. The last study they had was the Term and Life Cycle study. It was found that cheerful people actually had higher mortality rates through their lifetime than less cheerful people. They suggest that cheerful people are less concerned with health risks and don't take care of themselves, other than compared to less cheerful people. and they are more likely to engage in healthy risk behaviors. I have some questions for you to think about. How do you use humor in your own life? And how does unhealthy humor hurt our locus of control? Do you think the effects of humor are real or just perceived? Think about it for a while. And just in case you're wondering, here are my references. Thanks, guys.